Cool. So day one review of Myron Golden's Make More Offers in the books. This is my 1,000th time being around Myron, so like it's cool for me to have the experience coming back, and I want to share some insights as being like a repeat. So I went to Make More Offers Live last year in May, the last one they'll ever do, and then I've been to Make More Offers the challenge before. This is my second challenge. But this is your first time, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on what day one was like with a fresh perspective, and then I want to overlay that with, I think, some surprising things from being a new person. I want to review this for the person who's watching and they're thinking, should I take the class? What should I expect out of it? But also for the people that are on our channel, they're on Insta here, and they're like, why are you guys learning about this? What does this have to do with anything? I think we can tie that in with lead generation and some of the things, some of the reasons why this is important to us as a business. So thoughts on day one as a first timer going through Myron's stuff?
Yeah, so first off, I would say, you have mentioned Myron a lot, and I've heard Myron, some of his stuff on YouTube, but actually being in the course, actually having paid for the course this time around, and sitting down and actually hearing him live on a call and engaging with the audience, the people that are in the challenge, is just a completely different experience. You're more engaged when you're paying for something, and so that was like just a takeaway that sometimes there's a lot of content out there online, but when you're paying for it, you definitely are a little bit more tuned. You're making sure your phone is on silent and that you're actually staying, focused. I would say the other big takeaway, just first impressions, the VIP session before the actual general admission of the course, or the challenge, I like to call it a challenge, not a course, was really valuable to hear from all those business owners that were asking questions. So many of those questions were the questions I had in my own mind about how to improve my business, or different struggles or kind of pits that we're in as a company right now. And so that was really valuable.
I think the most surprising thing for me is I took the challenge about 18 months to 24 months ago, so a while ago at this point, and then Make More Offers Live. I went to that last year. It felt like new content for me. That was the big surprise. Like, I don't remember day one in the workbook being the same. The only things that I remember being the same were some definitions of things. Like, he has his own definitions for offer mastery and what is an offer and all these things that he goes into. That was the same, but a lot of it was kind of new. And it is like, he talks about the Bible a lot, and I think the Bible is a good analogy. Like, no matter how many times you read a chapter, there's always something else for you to learn from it. So I really like that. I really like that as a company, like Insta here coming to it, I think is really cool, because it's like, figuring out leads for our customers is something we've been focused on. And I think, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to like ruin it for people. I do want to come up with a rating. Maybe we'll do a quick rating at the end for people. But
Sure.
It's really important for our company, I think, to like really be on top of what, the best practices around leads and really understanding leads, how to optimize leads, because that is the space that we're in. And one quick thing that I really liked learning about or just thinking through was in one of the exercises when he was talking about, you sell the payoff, sell the transformation, don't sell the parts, the pieces, the people. I think that was a huge takeaway for me. It was like, even removing AI from it, because it really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how the cookies are made. Like, it doesn't matter how, what your baking time and this and that. No one cares. They just want to know the payoff after the thing. So that was really cool. I shouldn't say too much more. I think it's valuable for people to go there and experience it for themselves. I did a general admission last time, and I thought that was great. That was $100. Obviously, he doesn't give you the money back guarantee if you're only spending $100, but I think the VIP is really valuable. It's that extra hour commit a day. And so it's not trivial. I mean, it's an extra 5 hours for the week, but you really do get to see other people ask questions, even though they might not have the same exact business. They might be facing similar challenges as you. So I do think that's really been pretty cool, pretty worth it. And you got to see that at Offer Mastery Live last year. A lot of people, you would go to lunch together, and those conversations were gold. So that's why I really wanted to do that this time. But anything else before I start pushing you to give like a scoring of the experience, or just some kind of rating that people can walk away with? If it's in a TLDR form, is it worth it or is it not? And who's the person it's worth it for?
I would say it's definitely worth it if your business is at a stage where not enough people know about you. So much of the content today was around cold traffic, and how cold traffic is a majority of where your customers are right now, your future customers. So that was really valuable. So if you're at that stage, I would say, especially if you're at maybe stage 1, stage 2 of trying to build up an audience, there were some people that had zero awareness for their business, and hearing Myron's feedback on how to start from step 0, super valuable. Even if we're a little bit further along, of course, than step 0, but how to take it to the next level. I think without going into detail on the magic of the content itself, learning about how to structure even a landing page, some of what he was talking about was really insightful, really simplifying how to do that correctly specifically for cold traffic. There were new techniques that were spoken about by Myron that made so much sense. I look forward to trying those, and that I would say is who the best person would be for this course.
Yeah, one thing I want to highlight, somebody on my channel, my personal channel, recently wrote about Dr. Benjamin Hardy's class. Like, I reviewed it, and they're like, oh, so dumb. Like, you paid $3,000 to basically journal in a notebook. And I think this is not right for the kind of person that, if you're real with yourself and you're the kind of person that's stubborn and you're not opening yourself up to thinking differently, and I've tried that before, and I've done this, and I know all the things, and I've done it all, and if you're not willing to be flexible and revisit some things and be open-minded, it's just not the thing for you, because it's like, it's so easy to fall into that pattern of like, I've done this before, I've done the landing page, and my gut intuition is that like some of these things will work, some of them won't work, and I don't know if that's gonna have the 10x increase that I want to see, talking about Benjamin Hardy's class and that whole mind shift. But it's just so important, I think, to go in with like a blank slate and just be open to trying new things, because like a lot of these ideas sometimes they're right in front of you, but it's like they're so far away until you're outside of your comfort zone, your normal routine. And so I love that the class is actually so disruptive. It's 2 hours when you do VIP of a day. That's a lot of an 8 or 9 hour workday. So it's like, it really forces you to think completely different, like about those landing pages. So you would recommend it as a whole to somebody else based on your first day? How do you feel about your return on investment? Not sure, undecided. What are your thoughts?
So far, I stepped away with some really actionable things. I like that. I am a homework person, so I do like the fact that there's homework. It kind of reinforces it. But as a person that likes to understand the reasons for why you're doing something, Myron does a great job at explaining the why behind simplifying the process of the components of a landing page. That really connects with my learning style. I don't like to just be told what to do. I like to understand why. And so that, right now, I'm giving it a lot of high marks for just his ability to clearly communicate the why.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to leave people with, another nugget that I thought was exciting or interesting, I paused thinking about this because it's like I don't want to share too much, right? Because like, I want people to go and make the decision for themselves. It's $100. Like anybody that's starting a business, if you don't have $100 to put towards the class, you're not, something's going on where like you need to spend a little bit of money to make money, right? So the one part that I thought was interesting was like a new challenge in this chapter of a business that we're looking at, where it's like, a lot of people have a problem, but you can't force them to solve it for themselves. And I think that parallels so well with, evangelical Christians that are like talking about, the Bible and whatever. It's like, you can't force people to be ready to want to do a thing or change or eat healthy or whatever. Like, they might know, when you talk about, the why, I always think that's such an interesting thing, because it's like people actually aren't listening. They don't really care about the why until they're ready. And that part, like, we just don't have control over. And so figuring out how to go after those people that are ready to hear the thing, whether it's, in a church setting or whether it's in a business setting, I think both of those just, they dovetail together so interestingly. And that was like a really interesting takeaway, because I don't know if I've seen that before. Like a lot of other companies or technology, when it was a little younger, like people were excited to try new things, and I see more resistance. And so that was something I was really excited to hear about, was like, I don't know if I have all the answers on how to find those people, but I'm glad that it was a little bit of validation, and also like, okay, this is strategizable. This is solvable. So that was cool. Anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just left that class, the challenge, with a huge sense of hope. And that has been pretty exciting going into starting a work week. with where we're at in the business right now of how to look at it a little bit differently. And I love what he was saying about who you actually are creating an offer for. And that's given me some ideas on how to focus, how to cut out some of the personas that we were targeting, and how to go a little bit more granular with some of the other personas that are part of the pool that Myron talks about when he's saying who are you actually creating an offer for, and is it a big enough opportunity for your business?
Yeah, that was interesting how we talked about friction and quality versus quantity. I think there are some really interesting, you and I, it's just so funny, right? Like coming from multiple different startups and building different businesses, like you and I had kind of learned that through the school of hard knocks of like, you know, if you increase the friction, then you increase friction on to the checkout process. Let's say you increase the lead quality that's coming through, but you decrease the quantity of leads that are coming through. And so talking about that balance and detail and how he was going through that, it's really uncanny the amount of things that just resonate because you're like, oh, I've been through that. I've seen that before. And so that's always fun to go through. And it puts it in your mind in a tangible, like revisitable way, which is like meaningful. I don't know if I would have been able to like communicate the experiences that you and I have had so clearly had it not been for someone else kind of like putting it in their workbook and documenting and being like, this is what that is. And this is, if you go this path, you get this result. And if you go this path, you get this result. It's like, oh, I've been down that path before. So I think we'll cut it here. I'm excited to do day 2. I'd like to do a review for day 2 and just see, kind of bring people along for that. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I think like I want to talk about all of it in a way that's kind and polite and whatever, but I would like to review the parts of it that maybe, you know, they haven't been the most valuable for you so that people can get a real understanding of what they should expect. So we will see you guys in tomorrow's video, and until then.